All right, we are just a few days till opening night for Halloween Horror Nights 2023, and we thought, I think it's about time to kind of go over our essentials list for the event and things that we plan on bringing for opening night and every single time that we come to the event. So this is more going to be almost a little checklist for you guys, and hopefully you can use this as a little bit of a staple to say, hey, let me make sure I have these items in place before I do show up for HHN 32. Now, something to keep in mind, this list might have a lot of overlap from some other people's lists out there, which is totally fine, but I think we've put a few things in here that we found really essential that maybe some of the other lists kind of overlooked. Either way, let's head inside the park. We're just gonna kind of do a little bit of a walk and talk, show you what's going on inside of our bags, and then maybe see if there's any updates. I don't think there's too much today, so mostly just, again, a list for you guys. As we are heading into the park to show you some items, again, take a beautiful look at the entryway here. We have the medallion and then again, the 5 IP houses. I do also wanna let you know I have been watching The Last of Us. We just started last night. We are finished with episode 2, so I think we have, 7 episodes left to go. So far, so good. We just have a little bit of catching up before opening night. Also, I am aware that it is based on the game, not the TV show, but that's the only option that we have. I don't own a PlayStation, so this is kind of the only thing that we can do for it, but we're doing the best that we can. Before we actually get started, I want to update you on this week's schedule for videos. Originally, we kind of planned on hitting every single day for videos, just kind of giving you something new. But with the hurricane projections, as of now, it looks like we're gonna be getting a lot of rain over the next few days. I think we're getting landfall on Wednesday. So we are supposed to have annual pass holder previews of the tribute store on Wednesday, and that video then would come out on Thursday. I don't know what's gonna happen between now and then at this point, just because of the weather. So we're monitoring it. Does look like we're getting rain for opening night. So just a little heads up on that. But I do wanna say, if you guys wanna see more videos for HHN, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I just don't know what the schedule is looking like this week. We'll still do our best to get you guys a lot of content before opening night. Really, there's only 4 or 5 days left. Your first essential item would be your tickets. And now I say this because most people are like, yeah, obviously, Dylan, I'm gonna show up to the park, I'm gonna have my ticket. But if you have your ticket, your express, or if you're an annual pass holder, making sure to have those is something that I think is often overlooked because you're getting dressed, you're packing your bag, et cetera, and you just forget your tickets. So I know it sounds kind of dumb and people are probably like, Dylan, like obviously, but I'm telling you, making sure that you have your tickets and getting them ahead of time. Also, just kind of mentioning for the tickets, make sure that you stop at guest services before your night. If you're here for opening night, it's gonna be really, really bad for the lines over there. But even like whatever night you end up coming, it will be very busy at guest services because people are going to be picking up their tickets. So doing that ahead of time, number one, and also try and choose like not a super popular guest service option. A lot of people will come over to Universal side. You could even head over to IOA. You could go into City Walk. I think you could even do it in the hotels. So just do it ahead of the night, just so you're kind of ahead of the curve at that point before you kind of get stuck in these massive lines before the night starts. Now, our second essential item, and this is kind of anytime you're visiting the parks, but very, very specific to HHN because people think like, oh, it's September, it's not gonna be that hot. I'm telling you right now, we have a real feel still of like 104 degrees today. Just because we're getting into September doesn't mean the heat is gone. So the next thing would be water and electrolytes. Now here's the thing, everyone's gonna tell you bring water, bring water, bring water. I'm telling you bring electrolytes. I will drink all of the water in the world and still feel just like heat exhausted inside of the park. The second I start to get electrolytes in, completely different. It is a game changer. Make sure you bring some sort of electrolyte on top of your water that you have inside of the park. Obviously, you can get drinks around the area, but just making sure that you have it on you like at all times while you're in lines, while you're walking through the park, sitting in the scare zones, anything like that. Make sure you have a drink on you, and specifically make sure you have a little bit of electrolytes. How many drinks do you feel like we bring to the park, even on a daily basis? Not just for HHN, but just in general.
I think on average we have like 3 to 4 drinks. We have our refillable metal water bottle, which I would recommend 100%. Keep something that's gonna hold ice for you. We have another bottle to like refill with water, and then a Gatorade and like a Powerade. We chug it out here, it's hot.
It is, and that is the thing. I think per person, you kind of want to have about 2 to 3 drinks available to you. Obviously, you can refill around the park, but just having them on you. Sometimes if you're in those lines for 2 to 3 hours, you don't have the ability to get out and then go refill without losing your spot. So again, 2 to 3 drinks per person, and one of those being an electrolyte drink. A small little essential to kind of piggyback off of that is if you do buy the reusable cup here for alcohol, make sure that you bring it. A lot of times people will bring it the first night, and then they're here for 2 or 3 nights, and they forget to bring it back. So if you want that alcohol at a discounted price, make sure to bring your little Blinky cup back. Also, if you guys do have the refillable cups, make sure to bring those as well and go ahead and activate them for the night. I think it's like $10 or so, and you'll just get an activation for the night, which I think will be, again, a huge plus for you as you are kind of navigating around the park. And our next essential will be some sort of cooling item that Nicole has here around her neck, and we actually just got this all cooled up. This one is actually one of like the rags that you will just go ahead and soak with water. But we also have fans. We have a few different options as far as it goes. How do you feel about that?
I like this one. It stays cold for a while. It's easy to like refill. It's very lightweight. And if you're not wearing it, just like tie it on your back.
Yeah, I do think that the rag options that they have here are definitely some of the nicer ones, or towels, whatever you want to kind of have. Yeah, this is the Chill Pail?
We got on Amazon.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. And I'll leave anything that we kind of mention in the description below if you guys want to check it out. It'll obviously be like probably like an affiliate link or whatever, but either way, if you guys want to purchase any of the items that we recommend, again, description below. But the nice thing with these, like she said, is they're kind of lightweight and they don't take up a lot of space. So it's kind of nice to just like sling it around your neck. It'll cool you down, and then again, when you're done, yeah, you just like tie it around your bag or whatever. Sometimes those fans, they could just be like too big, you know?
They're
like
heavy, they're hard to carry, and like I feel like as great as they are in the moment, I'm so over dealing with it quickly.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Very
Sometimes
bulky.
it's just like sitting on your neck, and it can be kind of a nuisance, where like, again, these rags, they keep you cool, almost can like serve as like a sweat rag if you really wanted to. Whatever kind of cooling method you want to use will ultimately work. I think they all work pretty well. In our opinion, some work better than others, but for us, again, the rags do pretty well. And then again, if you just want to like stick it in your bag too, you could just kind of crumple it up into a very small footprint. Those fans tend to be a little bit bigger. As we are walking through the Jungle of Doom area, we could see what this looks like when it gets a little wet. It actually holds up decently well, I'll say. Looks pretty good. We'll take a look at this as well. It almost looks like we have another one of these portals, or again, this might just be a house display here where it shows you all 10 houses, maybe on a map of some sort, but this is actually new. But speaking of the rain, let's talk about our options for staying dry. So when it comes to staying dry, we definitely recommend ponchos and umbrellas. Those are kind of the two best options, and I would say between the two of them, I'd kind of bring both. It kind of gives you options. So if it's a light drizzle, maybe you don't totally want to have ponchos on, and maybe just an umbrella will suffice for a little while. If you're going to be in some consistent rain for quite a while, maybe popping on a poncho. Now here's the thing, I have 2 different ponchos in my hand. I have basically like $1 from like Walgreens, and then probably like $20 from Universal. And most of you guys are like, well, I just want to spend $1, I'll just buy one of these. But I'm gonna tell you why I actually prefer the Universal ones. The quality on this is insane. It's a lot nicer than these. This is actually plastic, this is vinyl. So if you understand the differences, the vinyl will hold up a lot more. If you go inside of a house, for example, and you want to take off that poncho, you take this off, it's almost impossible to put it back on. It's kind of humid, it's going to kind of like stick to your body. Way too difficult to kind of stay around for more than like 1 or 2 uses. This will last you the entire event and then some. You can bring this home and continuously wear it. You can bring it back next year. So I understand it is $20, but at the end of the day, this is going to go a lot further. Also, I feel like this kind of keeps you a lot drier, to be honest. I feel like sometimes this kind of like the rain is like dripping into your face or like dripping onto your body. I feel like I get wet with this one. This one feels like you're wearing a giant umbrella. This definitely feels like you're wearing just like a plastic bag, if that makes sense. So if you want to go the cheaper option, you can pick these up from like Walgreens, Walmart, whatever. Again, they're like 80 cents to $1.20 or something. So you can pick them up, but you're probably gonna have to pick up like 5 to 7 of them if you're gonna be taking them on and off throughout the night. This is a one-time buy, so highly recommend buying theirs. Plus you get the little Universal logo if you want. While we are putzing around the park, you could actually see one of the handles on the beers over here. It says Nightmare Nectar. So I actually haven't heard of that one, but if you guys know what that one is, looks like they have installed the little handle there for it. Looks like they have a Crooked Can brewery over there, and then maybe, is that like an Oktoberfest or something? Yeah, so, but we do have the Nightmare Nectar, which seems kind of fun. I like the style on that. And then over here, you could see that they do have it labeled as the Animal Actors Bar for Soda 1 and beer. It looks like we are getting the Lacto Cooler again. I can't really tell what that other icon is. Almost looks like a Stranger Things kind of look to it. Who knows? We'll obviously be reviewing them when the night does come. One of our next essential items, and again, a lot of people will probably tell you this, would be Tylenol, Advil, anything of that sort that might, kind of relieve some of those issues you might have throughout the night. As you are kind of experiencing the loud noises, flashing lights, sometimes that's a big disturbance for either your eyes, a headache, anything like that. It definitely can be an irritant. So having something like that on hand goes a long way. Also, don't forget things like your medication. If you're somebody that has asthma, right? Like things like that, I think like people overlook all of the time. So making sure any medications that you need to have on hand are definitely things that you kind of need to keep in mind when you are coming to the event. Maybe you have anxiety meds, things like that. Maybe the event gets a little intense for you and you're getting that anxious feeling and you kind of need to get simmered down. Just keep that in mind as you guys are preparing your bags. Those medications and things like Tylenol and Advil, like I said, are very much essentials when you're coming to the park. Now, you may not need it, to be honest, but it's nice to just have it on hand in the event of an emergency. I don't think I can reiterate enough to you how hot it still will be when you come here to Horror Nights, and most likely most of September will still be warm. October will start to get a little cooler, but it's still by no means going to be cool during the event for the most part. Again, it is like real feel 104 today. The sun's like not even out. You can see we're getting some of those storm clouds coming in from this hurricane that's now kind of making its way up here, and already we're starting to see the storms formulate. But again, no sun, but still crazy hot, crazy humid. You will be sweating. Well, not much of an essential per se, but a little bit of a tip. Make sure to go get some AC. And if you're over here by Men in Black, this is the best spot to do it. Can anybody beat the AC of Men in Black?
I still think Minions Cafe may be like neck and neck.
Ooh, okay.
But this is like instant relief when you walk in here.
We need to do a video based on like who has the best AC, because I honestly feel like this is the best feeling, unless it's just like extra humid today, so it feels really good, but oh, it's such a good relief. The next essential item would be some shades, and I guess it's not super essential, but if you have shades on and you're here, we get a lot of sun up until probably 8:30. You're still gonna have some sun inside of the park. So when you are going inside of these houses, if you don't have shades, you're gonna go into a very dark scenario coming out of a very bright scenario. And a lot of times your eyes don't have the time to adjust to the scenery. And at that point, you're gonna kind of have a little bit of a rougher go inside of the house. So I recommend wearing some shades before you actually go inside of the houses to kind of let your eyes adjust. And that way those really dark houses aren't as dark when you go in, when again, it's 7, 8 o'clock, or even 6:30 if you're doing something like Stay and Scream. So again, shades are going to be essential for you here if you want to make sure that you have the best possible run through a house, especially if you're only doing them one time. Just want to do a quick update for you here on Men in Black. It looks to be all of the same. The exterior around that circle though, the blue tape is now removed, so maybe they're getting ready to take that down and kind of get that all finalized. I don't even know what they were doing. I don't know if they were redoing the lettering, if they were just cleaning it up or what, but it should hopefully be done here by Friday. It looks like we have some assembling of the gates here over by whatever portal this will be, and then over here by Nightmare Fuel. They are just installing some of those like fence gates here to start to navigate the crowds when you end up going into this show. That's kind of cool. Looks like they have a lot of people kind of helping out, pulling them in. They're bringing them from out back. Assembly is here. Again, we do have team member previews in like 2 days now, so very soon for that. Assuming it goes through with the hurricane, I don't know if they're gonna cancel it or what's gonna end up happening. Very crazy to think like this whole week could just be shifted because we're getting the hurricane this week. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people would tell you to pack an extra pair of socks, but I'm gonna tell you something different. And you can pack an extra pair of socks if you have the ability though. Pack something like slides, slip-ons, Crocs, etc. Just because the thing is, if you have socks, well, let me talk to you about it. So if you're wearing gym shoes and they get wet for the night, and that means both of your shoes and the socks are now both wet, and people are like, well, pack extra socks so that way you can swap into the dry socks and then put your shoes back on. But here's the problem. Your shoes are still wet. It's not like you got to dry your shoes off, and I understand that shoes are a little easier to dry and sometimes they're a little bit more water resistant. But if they're soaked, you're going to have dry socks going into wet shoes. So you're just gonna ruin the next pair of socks. It's not gonna help you at all. So my essential item is, again, bringing something like slides, slip-ons, anything that you could just easily put on and then tuck your shoes and socks away in preparation for the storm. I know it's kind of a pain to pack like an extra pair of shoes versus just a pair of socks, but if you have the ability to, that's the best option in my opinion, because again, dry socks into wet shoes just means you're getting 2 pairs now of wet socks to carry around. It's not gonna do you much good. Obviously, wearing things like Crocs or anything like that will help out a little bit more, just because I think then they could just get wet, and if you're just wearing them all day, then you don't have much of a problem. But if you are somebody that likes to wear gym shoes like myself inside of the parks, the extra pair of socks really isn't gonna do you a whole lot, in all honesty. And again, I know that essential item might be a little controversial to some people, just because, again, they're like, well, I don't wanna carry around extra shoes, I just wanna carry socks, etc. Like, I get it, but it's not as practical as you might think. Swapping your socks and putting it into wet shoes, I'm telling you right now, it's not really gonna do you a whole lot. I had it happen to me once before, and I was just like, well, now my socks are just wet again, and it didn't really do me anything. I think it saved me all of 20 seconds before they were completely soaked. Also, like, wet shoes, especially gym shoes, just are no fun to walk around in anyway. So having something that's a little bit more waterproof that you can kind of slip on and slip off will definitely be a benefit for you. Now, we're gonna go try something over here. A new food booth is open in Universal Studios. Over here is the new food booth I was just telling you about, and here are some of the items. So with their hot food, they have the vegetable egg roll, they have a Cantonese cinnamon sugar donut stick, they have an Asian chopped salad, some beers there, both canned beers and draft beers, but this is what we were coming for, is the Golden Gate Sunset. It's a passion fruit with strawberry popping boba pearls, and that is $8.79, and then there's a cable car coffee with brown sugar pearls. That might actually be pretty good too, but I think today, with a little bit of this humidity, we're going for something a little bit more fruity and a little bit more sweet, I guess, at that point. And again, here is our boba tea that we got, a pretty nice size there, and you could see the different coloring there. So at the bottom, it's kind of that pinkish red, and then in the middle, orange, all the way up to yellow. So you get that sunset look, very cool. And then we did end up going with 2 egg rolls here. They are a vegetable egg roll, no meat, it doesn't seem like inside. And then they also come with like a sweet and sour sauce of sorts, so you do get 2 of them there.
That's good. The strawberry boba is good. Very good, very sweet, but not like sugary sweet.
Just like that right amount?
Yeah, like almost like natural sweet and like what is it, passion fruit?
I think so. Yeah, I'm actually a huge fan of that. The one thing I think they need to change about it is the straw thickness. I think it needs to actually be just a little bit bigger. The bobas are starting to get stuck in the straw a little bit, but that is amazing. If you guys are boba fans, hit up that booth over here in San Francisco. It's right here in HHN. It's right next to the Shipyard 32. That is fantastic. What I do want to show you really quick is another essential, at least for somebody like myself, which would be inside of my camera bag, and that's gonna be a lot of my camera equipment. So this is my camera bag, and probably a lot of you won't tend to have a lot of this, but I'll show you anyway. We have a weatherproof kind of coating for my bag here. We have a little stand here if we decide to do some food reviews or anything on the go to just attach the camera. And then we have some of the hoods here for both of my low light lenses. So I do have 2 low light lenses here. I have a Sigma 16mm, that's a crop sensor. And then this is a brand new lens that I actually just got here like a week ago. And this is a Viltrox 16mm full frame lens. So I've been trying this out, it's been doing pretty well. You've actually probably seen a few pieces of footage from it when I'm inside of places like the All Hallows Eve Boutique. You know, just like that dark footage, we try and use this. So this will be kind of essential for HHN because it does get pretty dark here in the evenings. So we're hoping that this holds up this year. But that's pretty much it as far as like the lens stuff goes. We have things like wipes and some extra batteries and such, and I'll show you just a little bit of that because that could actually be good for your like camera on your cell phones. So this is a Zeiss like cleansing rag in a sense, or again a microfiber, and I use it to clean off the lens. This is also great for your phone camera lens. So if you plan on taking photos and videos, having this in your bag is really nice. It's not gonna scratch your lens up or anything like that. And it just kind of makes sure to get all the dust and particles, especially, you know, if you're sweaty or the oils on your finger get onto your camera lens. Again, I'm just talking your natural phone lens. This definitely is a huge help. And then also I use these little Zeiss wipe pads. They're meant to kind of be used on your glasses. So if you are a glasses wearer, this does help a lot too. But also again, for your lenses, it's more of a moisture lens. So kind of combining the 2 of them helps out. And that would be the 2 things that I kind of make sure that my lenses are cleaned with. I guess we actually have one more essential tip. So this isn't the last one, and I just thought about this because we always have them on our bags, and that's gonna be hand sanitizer. You know, you're going through, you're touching things. Sometimes you don't necessarily wanna go run over to the bathroom and wash your hands, which I would recommend washing your hands every single time before you do eat. But sometimes at least getting some hand sanitizer and kind of getting your hands clean because you've been, you know, touching things, railings, things are kind of getting in your way in the houses or whatever. It's going to help out a lot to just go ahead and clean your hands on the go versus if you don't, again, want to go to the bathroom. I still highly recommend going and washing your hands every single time, but if you can't, hand sanitizer is at least the next best option. All right, we have one more essential item. What do you think it's gonna be, Nicole? She kind of knows the list a little bit, but do you remember?
Oh, I do remember.
And what would it be?
It would be earplugs.
Earplugs. She almost forgot, but it is earplugs, and maybe it's because she actually doesn't wear them in the houses I do. And again, it's just personal preference, but in my opinion, I think earplugs are so essential to just make sure that you enjoy the event. Some people like myself have very sensitive hearing, so some of the loud slams and noises and screeches inside of the houses really irritate my ears. It's not too bad around the scare zones, I'll say, but I will tell you when it comes to the actual houses, many times I feel like those things are a lifesaver. Now here's the problem. I don't have them on me today. I actually just ordered 2 new pairs because I lost them last year during the Nightmare Fuel show, and then I put them somewhere and I lost them again. So I just ordered 2 new pairs to make sure I always have them. The last time I lost them over at Nightmare Fuel, I was so upset because the rest of the night I didn't have them, and that's when I realized how important they really are. It fell through like the stadium seating. It was really unfortunate. So I was without them that night. Do you remember that?
I do. You like, oh, were they like stuck and you're trying to like beat them out of the box and just fell?
Yep. And that was the problem. And then at that point, I was missing my earbuds. And so at that point, again, I was really upset about it. And then I ended up ordering another pair, but now I had lost that pair. So when I was searching, I couldn't find them, but I have now ordered another pair, and I went ahead and did 2 just to make sure I have a backup in the event that I do lose that first pair. So make sure you guys have earplugs if you have any sort of sensitivity to sounds or loud sounds, anything like that. It will be a lifesaver for you. It honestly makes the houses way more enjoyable for somebody like myself, that I feel like, again, I can enjoy the actual house and get to observe the surroundings instead of worrying about my hearing as I walk through. Well, this is a little weird. They don't have like that Nightmare Nectar or whatever it was called over at the bar by Animal Actors, but they do have the Crooked Can one here, and then like the Oktoberfest or whatever it is. But then behind me, I don't know if you guys are aware, they have installed the Surfer Boy Pizza sign up there. I'm pretty sure we've already showed that, but it is fully installed. And again, we are still assuming this will be a Yeti Campground Kills food booth. So over there, I could see some of the HHN staff shirts. So it looks like they might be getting still debriefed and prepping for Wednesday. But look right next to us, we have all of these switchback gates here for this queue right up front. Again, this actually looks a little bit more than what they had last year. I feel like it didn't go as deep. I thought it kind of got cut off almost halfway through. This comes all the way back here. I could be wrong. Again, it's been a year now at this point, but wow, we have them in place. We are just days away from opening night. I am so excited. If you guys are excited, go ahead and thumbs this video up. We are so dang close. But with all of that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Hopefully this essential list will help you out for your HHN trip this year, or if you're not coming, hopefully you can kind of live vicariously through our videos here in the coming weeks. We have a lot planned for you guys. Again, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we will be giving you so much HHN content. We'll be covering opening night, express pass, stay and scream, food options, drink options, you name it. We'll be covering it here. Either way, I think we're gonna try and dodge some of the rain that's coming in. Let's hope for a very dry week this week. I don't think it's gonna happen, but at least a dry opening night, right? Either way, we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.